And if you don't have close friends or family that you would trust to do it, it becomes an issue. In California or Arizona, you can appoint what's called a professional fiduciary to do this. Awesome. These are people that are willing to be your medical power of attorney, financial power of attorney, executor. Downside, only in California or Arizona. And if you're randomly moving states, that's a problem. And if you run out of money, you're not going to be able to pay for them. So, trying to solve this. What I ended up doing is I partnered up with some friends over at Wellon Trust. John and Robert over there, awesome guys. We've been working on this for about the last 18 months. We have created what we call a Childfree Trust. Childfree Trust is a set of documents, includes a trust, will, power of attorney. But what it means is that Childfree Wealth, through Wellon Trust in a partnership, is able to be your executor, medical power of attorney, financial power of attorney for you.
Welcome to the Childfree Wealth Podcast, hosted by Bree and Dr. J, Certified Financial Planner. Here we discuss life and finances as it relates to being child-free. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please consult your advisor before implementing any ideas heard on this podcast.
Hey, Childfree Wealth listeners. We are back talking about the chapters of the book from the Childfree Guide to Life and Money. Just me. I say we, but that's because you're listening. I really am missing Bree on this one because this is one of her favorite topics to talk about, estate planning. No Baby Step 6. If you don't have the book yet, come on. Don't wait till the end of your life and your estate planning. Buy the book at your local bookstore or go to the library, ask them to carry it. Come on. It's less than $20. You can afford it. Now, No Baby Step 6, estate planning, is working on what's going to happen when you can't make decisions for yourself. So we really are talking about your will, your medical power of attorney, which is sometimes called a healthcare directive, and your financial power of attorney. The other document that's not necessarily part of the legal documents, but that you need as part of your estate plan is an in case I die file, which I tell people where it is at. So the first part of estate planning is kind of figuring out, what do you want to do with your stuff? Now, in general, most child-free folks that I've worked with want to wind down their wealth or die with zero. So it's not necessarily going to be a lot of money, but you got to figure out what to do with it. Now, if you're charitably minded, you can give your money in your estate, but the problem is you get no tax breaks if you give it in your estate. If you're charitably minded, you're better off giving that throughout your life. Same if you're trying to help family members, chances are they can use it earlier in your life rather than when you die. But you need to put in your will, okay, everything that's left over goes to whatever. I'm not going to vote on where to give it. I've seen some really interesting wills. I love the creativity. You need to pick what matters to you. And a lot of folks go, well, I don't know. I don't have family members that I want, or I don't know who to give it to. My question becomes, who made an impact on your life that you would like to make an impact on? And it could be an organization, could be people, could be whatever. I had somebody, they were going to give their money to, I think it was 4 different national parks that really had a lot of meaning to them. Awesome. It does not matter who it goes to. And anyone you ask will have a vote on who you should give your money to. And the answer is they don't get a vote. You choose what happens with your money. Now, the harder question for your will is, who's going to make decisions for you? It's your executor. That's someone you appoint to make those decisions. We'll come back to, I have a solution coming out if you don't have somebody. But you want to find somebody you trust to make those decisions for you. That'll go in your will. They need a copy of all the paperwork. They need to be written in there. Now, your power of attorney, your medical power of attorney is determining, kind of like, this is the old school, like, do you want to pull the plug? Do you want all the machines? What are your wishes around medicine? Great questions. Medical power of attorney comes into play when you are still alive, but you cannot vocalize what's going on, or you're not mentally there. It is something that says, okay, this is someone I trust to make medical decisions for me when I can't. And it's really important because anything can happen. You get a car crash tomorrow. You need to have somebody appointed. And what happens is, if you don't appoint somebody in your estate plan, this goes for wills, power of attorneys, the government or healthcare organizations will make the decisions for you. So if I'm randomly driving down the street, get in a car crash, I don't have any paperwork, some random doctor is going to be making decisions. Hope they make the right decision for me, but you don't know. You want to state this. In your will, if you don't say who's making decisions for you and who's getting the money, the state can actually take your money. They will try to find your next of kin somewhat. I'm here living in Tennessee. If I die tomorrow, well, hopefully my family will know to ask for the money if I don't have a will. But Tennessee is not going to find my family members in another state. They're just not going to look that hard because they get the extra money. You've got to specify because the whole system's based on next of kin. Super important also for folks that are in a couple or a group and not married. Your spouse in that case has no power unless you have some paperwork. Even for the married folks, you should have the power of attorney because it gives you a little more control of it. But at least then they have some way to say, hey, we're legally married. I can make some decisions, but there is a limit to it. Your financial power of attorney, that outlines who's going to make financial decisions for you when you can't. Let me give you an example of this. So you've had a stroke, you can't talk, you have to go in a nursing home. It's one of those things people worry about. Fair. Well, what's going to happen is the medical power of attorney is going to make the medical decisions about like, do you need to go in a home? The financial power of attorney is going to figure out how to pay for it. Two different roles. It's okay if you want to put a different person for each of those. You really want to have a primary and a backup because you need to make sure there's somebody that's always responsible, and whoever you put in there has to have a copy of everything, because the last thing you want is them, here, you're my power of attorney. They're in another state and they have to drive 1,200 miles to go pick up your paperwork. No, they need to have a copy of it. In California or Arizona, you can appoint what's called a professional fiduciary to do this. Awesome. These are people that are willing to be your medical power of attorney, financial power of attorney, executor. Downside, only in California or Arizona. And if you're randomly moving states, that's a problem. And if you run out of money, you're not going to be able to pay for them. So, trying to solve this. What I ended up doing is I partnered up with some friends over at Wellon Trust. John and Robert over there, awesome guys. We've been working on this for about the last 18 months. We have created what we call a Childfree Trust. Childfree Trust is a set of documents, includes a trust, will, power of attorney. But what it means is that Childfree Wealth, through Wellon Trust in a partnership, is able to be your executor, medical power of attorney, financial power of attorney for you. Yes, there's a cost that goes with that, but it is a solution, and it goes across all the states. You move, we're with you. 24 hours a day, so give me an example. My wife and I get in a car crash. The question is, who makes medical decisions for us? Who makes financial decisions? And who lets our dog walker know to let Colt out? Okay, my wife's going to be in the hospital from a car crash. She's going to be most worried about Colt getting out to go to his walk because literally he cares. Now, mind you, our cat's going to be good for a couple of days, but like the Colt will have a rough day. That's where the Childfree Trust steps in. You put them down as in case emergency. They've got power of attorney. They got trust documents. They're able to follow your plan, which is in the in case I die file of this is who we do. They don't pay the bills for you, but what they do is they say, let me call your dog walker and say, hey, go let Colt out because, they're in a hospital. It's a big deal. You need a solution. You don't have to use Childfree Trust. That's fine. What I like about using the Childfree Trust is you're working with a trust company that's a fiduciary. They're required to follow your wishes. That's kind of how it works. Trust company is actually a bank that doesn't take deposits, but they are held to the same standards as a bank. Cool. If you want to use a family or friend, awesome. Whatever you can rely on. But here's the thing. I'd love you to buy the book, but I care less about you buying the book and more about you getting this paperwork in place. Because if you don't, the government's going to make decisions for you. I don't trust them. I don't care what state you're in or where it is. I don't want them to make a decision for them. I don't want them taking my stuff. You need to get this paperwork done. It's great if you can work with a lawyer to do this. They can actually do the paperwork. You can also work with services like Free Will or Trust and Will. Get it done pretty cheap. That's, kind of like you're filling out the blanks, kind of like Mad Libs. Get it signed and witnessed. You're good. Gotta get that estate planning done. There's a whole bunch more in the book. Take a look. Pick up a copy. Childfree Guide to Life and Money.
If you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving a rating or review. We'd love to keep the conversation going. Please let us know your thoughts wherever comments are available or email us at media@childfreewealth.com. To stay up to date, find and follow Childfree Wealth on social media. If you're interested in working with us, learn more by visiting our website, childfreewealth.com. We'll see you next time.